Hi, welcome to the Shabby And Man show. Sorry, is there a problem?
You stop flicking your head as though you're Devanand. Okay, so do it properly.
What, you think you're Waither Rahman or something? To my Devanand. Welcome to the Shabby And Man podcast. I'm Man.
I'm Shabby. We're partners, we're parents, we're broadcasters.
And now we're also podcasters.
I know, podcasters stuck in a blizzard.
Just to let you all know that we're broadcasting from London. And in London for the last 3-4 days it's been snowing, raining, it's been cold. Not cold compared to the rest of the country, but cold for us.
Cold enough. And in the news someone actually said that while in the UK they think of it as a blizzard, in Canada it's called Wednesday. So what are we actually going to talk about today?
Well, just suppose it wasn't snowing and we could have called some guests over and you could choose anyone you like. Who would you have chosen?
I actually have a whole list because, I am very particular about the kind of person I would like as my dream guest. I only say that because I have many guests on my radio show.
Oh, and no one is your dream guest?
No, they are. But a dream guest is someone who would be that person you would really go out of your way to not be nice to. I'd like to think I'm nice to everybody, but it would really tick all the boxes for you. So let me start by asking you, who is your dream guest?
Mine would probably be someone like Van Morrison, who's notoriously grumpy, doesn't give interviews. I'd sit down
Recluse.
with him. Yeah, I'd sit down with him.
I was just going to say, what makes you think he'd open up to you?
Charm, sophistication.
The fact that you know all his songs.
I know all his songs.
And anybody else?
Many more. Monica Bellucci, but we won't go into that.
Yes, please, let's not talk about Monica Bellucci because otherwise it'll just take up the rest of the podcast. For me, I think the downside of being in the media and the downside of actually coming face to face with celebrities often is that you get to see how they actually are.
There's a famous saying, you should never meet your heroes.
Yeah, it's true actually. To a large extent, it is true. Because उनको पास से देखने में पता चलता है कि a lot of them are carried by hype and hype alone. But I feel that humor is
I was going to say, please say some nice things, otherwise we're never going to get any guests.
No, of course not. I've come across so many people who are nicer than they appear in the media. That happens as well. But I think my dream guest is going to be, I won't talk anymore about Stephen Fry. I know I've dedicated one whole podcast to Stephen Fry already. But somebody like Stephen Fry, if it were to be somebody Asian, I think Javed Akhtar. Somebody who has a way with words, who is impressive, who has an anecdote, who makes you think, who makes you laugh, who can move you to tears.
I think you've actually met him quite a few times.
I've met him quite a few times.
I've seen enough photos of you with him, I think.
Yes, so I think he would be a dream guest. And also I think another person who I've always had on my wish list, and I'm going to do everything I can within my power to go and meet her someday, is Malala. Malala Yousafzai is a girl who I feel is an incredible personality, a force to reckon with. There we have women all around the world expatiating on what it means to be...
Wait, let me just get my thesaurus out. What? Expatiating?
Yes, it is a word. We used to do crossword once, by the way.
We did.
Yes. So talking eloquently about girl power and women's lib and this and that and all of that. But I think Malala is one person who not just talks the talk, but let's face it, she's taken a bullet for it and she's lived to tell the tale, and now she is just so inspirational. I would love to interview her someday. Forget about dream guest. Out of all the people, you have interviewed so many people, on your rock shows, when you're writing fashion columns.
You mean Deep Purple?
Deep Purple, yes. Yeah. So out of all the people that you've met, out of all the people that you've come across in your life, tell me a few that you...
Obviously, there's always some that stick out. The very famous ones. Of course, the Dalai Lama. I think once you also met him with me, didn't you?
I did.
It was a crazy week. I think I met him twice or 3 times in 1 week.
Yeah.
Because once we were in Dharamshala and we got a meeting with him, and the next time he was in All India Radio, I think he was giving a speech.
He was hanging out with Richard Gere.
He was.
Yeah.
And once, I was on air and Shah Rukh Khan was filming was that film with Manisha Koirala where he had to play a radio jockey?
Oh, yeah.
So he had to come
Maya Minsa?
No, I think it was called Dil Se.
Okay,
so he had to come into the studio.
Yeah.
Actually, let me tell you a wonderful story I still remember. You remember how All India Radio used to be across the road from Parliament?
Yeah.
So one of my friends came up to me, who's a very important person nowadays, and he said he was always into human rights and all, and he said there's a rally happening across the road with a few ministers and some human rights people. Could you come and just host it? So I said, sure, always want to do a favor, happy. So I went there, rocked up there, and guess who it was? It was Bianca Jagger. Now, obviously, he had no idea who she was.
I don't think I had an idea who she was.
I'm asking, my God. I said, should I talk to her about Mick Jagger? Should I ask her about Studio 54? Or should we just stick to human rights? So I think we just stuck to human rights, but I won't forget that. It was wonderful.
Good job it was pre-selfie times.
It was actually pre-selfie, otherwise I would have plastered it everywhere, I'm sure. So anyway, tell me about you. You've interviewed so many people. This is your bread and butter, your rosy roti. So who sticks out in your mind as great guests?
You know, I think even for me, I have to go back to my first celebrity interview when I was 21, which happens to be Amir Khan. I don't think
I thought you were going to say which happens to be last week.
I know I look not a day older than 22, but it has to be Amir Khan, because I remember even then, Amir Khan was quite famous. Yes, of course he was, and he was one of my biggest crushes. But besides that, it was his professionalism that I was so impressed by. You know how it is in India. एक भी celebrity क्या half a celebrity भी आता तो चाय वाला से लेके MD that everybody is there to, you know, oh sir, ek photo, sir, guldasta.
Let me just explain to anyone who doesn't know that Delhi is Bollywood deprived. We're full of fashion designers, politicians, but not really Bollywood stars.
So naturally, Amir Khan coming to the studio was a very big deal, and anyone who was anyone in the Times of India, I think, was there that day to kind of find an excuse to be in the office when Amir Khan came.
You're talking about me and
I'm talking about you and everybody else, but I actually interviewed him, and do you remember I had to do a 2-hour phone-in, and I was so impressed with the fact that he said, look, I'm going to meet all my fans, I'm going to do all the photos and autographs and all of that, but not in this time that I have promised to my callers, my listeners, my fans who are going to call into the show and talk to Shabnam and me. That was just so great, I think. And also, I think from recent times, Friends being the show that it was, not just in India but globally, we were such fans.
I remember how I used to always watch it. I think I was Fraser and you were Friends.
Yeah.
Or were you Sex and the City?
Both. After watching it for so many years and being such a devoted fan, having the chance to come across Matthew Perry, and I think Matthew Perry was with Steve Coogan. Steve Coogan, you're more Steve Coogan. I'm not so.
I was more charmed with him. Yeah.
So he was with Steve Coogan. To come across and have a chance to speak to and call it interview or a chat or whatever with Matthew Perry, that was really great. And in recent times, I think from last year, again, having been such a huge fan of Downton Abbey, to actually chit-chat with Hugh Bonneville and ask him and get to know, I didn't even know that he was such a huge Indophile. He said that, I first went to India straight after university and I fell in love with India back then, and he was talking about all the stuff that India-related stuff that he does now. So it was brilliant. I feel that whether it is a celebrity or not, somebody who's great to chat to, on radio, on television, or somebody who's great to interview is invariably a person who makes you laugh, a person who's smart, who has wonderful anecdotes for every occasion, somebody who's charming,
smooth, suave, sophisticated. Basically, you're describing me.
No, I mean, we're all allowed one mistake, right?
Thanks for listening to the Shabby and Man podcast. Please do subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast site. And feel free to rate us and review us, as this helps others to find us. Till next time.